Hi everyone. So I've just done my workout, so I'm all sweaty and whatever, but I felt it was a great time to do it because I'm feeling great and I wanted to just share what happened on Saturday. As I said in my post yesterday, I was going to do a video to share what had happened. So really, basically what happened is I was going out with my mum in the evening and we stopped at the shop. I went in to get something and my mum was outside. So I came out and this lady was there that she knows. I've seen her since I've been here. And I walked up and obviously from behind her and said hi. And she basically was like, oh, I didn't recognize you because you gained weight. And she's laughing about it. And I was like, okay. And then she turned to my mum and she was like, oh, you need to give her your bike so that she can cycle some of this weight off. And I just thought like, really? And in the past, I would have internalized all of that. I wouldn't have said a word. I would have internalized it, laughed it off. Number one, because I was like, well, it's somebody my mum knows and I don't want to make her feel bad, always thinking about other people's feelings. But I would have just taken that on myself. And actually, that evening when we were getting ready to go out, I was feeling a bit like, I don't know what I'm going to wear and maybe I should just stay at home. So I probably would have said, Mum, can you just go and drop me back home because I don't want to go out to this thing anymore. But I didn't. I actually turned around and I just said to her, do you know what? You should really be careful about what you say because it can actually, you don't know what people are going through and it can really affect them. And that's the kind of thing she was talking about. Yeah, she knows, but it's nothing really. And I just said, she just kept going on about it and about the bike and my mum giving me the bike. And I just said, some people could really be impacted by the words that you're saying. And I said to her, I had an eating disorder and, what you said would have really upset me. And she was she didn't even like, to be honest, I think she was shocked because she didn't know, because obviously it's not something I've gone and told everybody. But then she asked me what the eating disorder was. And she did apologize. She said, oh, what's the eating disorder? And I said, well, I'm actually recovering from binge eating disorder. And then she was just like, oh, yeah, I know, because, I've got a lot of weight to lose as well. And, and I was just like, again, it was like, you just don't understand. You don't understand what this actually is. And she did apologize and she didn't want me to, she didn't want me to feel bad or anything like that. And I said, no, it's fine for me, but I just want you to be aware that you need to be careful about what you are saying to people because you actually don't know what they're actually going through. And so that was actually what I said to her. And for me, that was huge, like huge, because I would never have said that before. I would never have spoken out. I would never, probably even like 3 or 4 months ago, I wouldn't have challenged somebody who said something like that. But I did. And I was really proud of myself that I did actually challenge it. Me and my mum continued on our way. And I had those thoughts like, oh my gosh, is my mum going to be upset because I, obviously said something to somebody she knows. But again, I was like, it's not about my mum. It's actually, number one, I need to stand up for myself. And I have to look after me and my feelings too. And secondly, I want to stand up for other people, because if people are just allowed to go around saying things like that, then that could really affect people in the same way how it used to and could have affected me. But I think what I found even more sad about the whole situation is how people really just go about saying things without any kind of consideration for other people or how they feel or what they might be going through. And the complete lack of understanding about eating disorders, because it isn't actually about weight. So even just saying, oh yeah, I understand because I've got a lot of weight to lose, it's like, well, actually you don't, because it's not about that. And just again, for me, it was a reminder of the kind of words and the kind of mindset that people have that had led me to eat and turn to food and binge and get into the eating disorder in the first place. So it was just brought up a lot of that stuff for me. But then, like I said, I was really proud of myself for how I managed the situation. And the other thing I do want to say for people, who may not be in a place where they, number one, might feel to challenge that kind of thing, but also who may be really affected by that is, for me, I thought, what, 6 months, like I'm approaching 6 months on Saturday where I've been binge and restriction free. And one of the things my mum always told me when I was younger is that in any kind of long distance race, the last 100 meters is always going to be the hardest. And she used to use that as an analogy with regards to my school, like exams at school and things like that. And I just thought, you know what, I'm in the last week, I've had a challenging few weeks and I'm getting myself together to finish strong. And then I go out and something like this comes up. It's not surprising. You always find that kind of challenge, always find that kind of test just when you're about to get your breakthrough or when you're about to achieve something. And for me, yes, it's 6 months of being binge and restriction free. But for you, it could actually be getting out of bed one day, or it could be getting through the day, or it could be getting through a work day. Whatever your challenge is for yourself, there will be things that come up to just really test you. And it does just then make you stronger. And for me, it just makes me see how much as, you know, she said, oh, well, you've gained weight. And the reality is from probably last year, yes, I have. But actually, all of the stuff that I have worked on and how I feel, even in that moment, just demonstrated and proved to me that there has been significant improvement and recovery in my thinking patterns, how I feel in that kind of situation, and how I manage things. And I've done so much work. And it's just to remember, like, for me, I have a couple of tips I want to give to you if you are, you know, faced with those kind of things. It's a reminder in society, as much as we have loads of body positivity and anti-diets and all of this stuff, the majority of society still judges you based on what you look like, what you weigh. And when you're trying to undo that kind of thinking in your own mind, it is hard because you're surrounded by everything else that tells you the complete opposite. And my tip for you is, one of them is, just stay focused on your why. One of the things I used to hate when I first started treatment was when they would say, you know, recovery is not about weight loss. And I'm like, I need to lose weight. Like, I actually need to lose weight. I don't think you quite understand this. But when I completely understood and accepted it, I realized, no, it's not about weight loss. And yes, you know, if you do have to lose weight for health reasons, or, you know, you're overweight, and that's fine, but let that be secondary to your recovery from binge eating disorder, because you doing the two just doesn't work, because it's your mindset, your thinking patterns that needs to change first, and that eventually will lead to weight loss. So stay focused on your why. Your why is, I need to heal and recover from binge eating disorder. That's my first thing. Like, I need to stop binging and stop restricting. That should be your priority. And therefore, for me, for example, someone saying, oh, you've gained weight. No, it doesn't feel good, because actually, you know what, I'm not going to lie and say, oh yeah, I love my appearance if I don't. But I can say, okay, fine, I completely agree with you. I could have told you that. However, my why is that I need to stay binge free and restriction free, and I'm actually accomplishing that. And you don't necessarily understand my why, so you don't really understand what it is I'm achieving. Just because it doesn't look like how you think it should look, I know what I'm doing. So stay focused on your why. And I also think that, you know, we need to just have compassion as well for other people, in terms of the fact that they just don't understand. They don't understand what you're going through, what you're experiencing, and that's okay as well. Just let them be, and focus. Just stay focused. The other thing, I have got notes here just because I wanted to make sure I did remember the tips I was going to give you, is about validating yourself and your own accomplishments. You know, like I said, people won't understand the battle that you're fighting, and that's okay. Like I said, have compassion for them, but make sure that you're getting validation from yourself, that you're getting strength from your own achievements that you know that you're achieving, and that you're working towards. Don't look for other people to validate, because they don't necessarily understand the things that you're like, oh my goodness, I know what my life was like and what I would have done in this situation. 6 months ago. So be your own cheerleader. And I love, to share this experience I had. Is like, I bought a bar of chocolate. I might have shared it before, but I bought a bar of chocolate and I put it in the fridge, and I remember going to eat it a few days later and it was hard. And I remember the moment when I was like, I have never experienced eating a bar of chocolate, like not being able to break it because it was so hard. I like, I don't remember ever experiencing that before. And I realized the reason why is because chocolate has never stayed in my house that long, especially in the fridge. So for me, that was a huge accomplishment. And I had to give myself a pat on the back. I had to be a cheerleader for myself. Other people may not understand that, but I did. So the first thing is really just stay focused on your why. Make sure your why is the right why, which is to recover from this eating disorder, not necessarily weight loss. And if you do have that as a why, make that secondary. Secondly, be compassionate. Understand that not everybody understands what you're going through, and that's on them. And thirdly, as I just said, be your own cheerleader, validate your own self and your own achievements, because only you know where you're coming from in your mind and in your behaviors, especially if it's something that you've done in isolation for so long. So yeah, that's what happened. And we will continue to raise awareness, I will continue to challenge and the best that I can, and see it as just a sign that I'm on the right track and I'm actually recovered and doing really well. So have a great day, and thank you for listening.